Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. NIKAM. You're listening to 1050 KCHN Radio. You can also listen to us on KCHNradio.com. We are talking about the skyrocketing Fort Bend County property evaluations and escalating property taxes. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons of hiring a legal firm to represent you in getting your taxes reduced, your property evaluations reduced. There are multiple legal firms which specialize in this, and as you are getting your property evaluations, simultaneously you may be getting flyers or emails or some kind of a mail from these people to represent you in reducing your property taxes. There are both pros and cons, and let's talk about both of these. Of course, the legal firms have a large team of experts who are well versed in property taxes, and evaluations, real estate values, all these things, to which we don't have the privy. They also have the connections of the right expertise to put all the information together. And this is what they do as a profession. So they know what the appraisal board is looking for. So with all this additional information and database and analysis, they are in an advantageous situation to represent you compared to representing yourself. They can go and represent you, and in many cases they have been successful in reducing their property taxes. I went and evaluated a half a dozen sites on the internet to see what kind of services they have and what they can offer. A lot of these firms say that you don't owe them anything if they don't reduce the property value, but I was told by some of my friends, some of the newer approaches have been that you give them money, they will attempt to reduce your property values. If they don't, you lose your money. I mean, that is one extreme. That's the one thing that I heard yesterday from some of my colleagues. But most of them say, okay, you give us your property information, sign the document, and we will take care of it from there. Some legal firms claim they have 80% success. Some legal claims say that others are 50% successful. Whether they are 50% successful or 80% successful, it doesn't matter. If they are successful in your case, that is 100% for you. If they can't do anything for you, that's 100% no success. So the main thing is, can the legal firm representing you do anything to reduce your property taxes? See, but the irony is, I don't understand. I saw this on one website that the property evaluations in the state of Texas by this firm was reduced like close to $4 billion. B with a B, like a boy, $4 billion. Now, just think about it. If one legal firm claims they reduce the overestimated property values in Texas by $4 billion, that means the state had overestimated these properties by $4 billion. And the sad thing about this is 90% of the people don't even appeal. What about the value of their properties which were over-evaluated to begin with? They get no tax break, nothing. But anyway, coming to the second point, of this $4 billion reduction in the property evaluations, the same firm claimed they saved money in excess of $80 million. Please stay with me. Let me explain this. They reduced the property value by $4 billion, saved taxes worth approximately $80 billion, but you have to give the legal firm 30% of what the taxes were saved. Let's say you gave the legal firm $25+ million for bringing down your property value by $4 billion. My question is, why is the state engaged in consecutively raising your property values unreasonably, I say that with confidence because these legal firms can come and argue and reduce these property values, and it's a fact because this is on an open website page. If you want, you call me at 281-745-4161 and I can give you references as to where. So why, to begin with, the state is engaged in work, systematically over evaluating the property, because legal firms can come and reduce these property values, and I'm talking $4 billion. If the properties were fairly evaluated to begin with, then we would not have paid that $80 billion in excess taxes. Then we shouldn't be even paying $25 billion in legal fees to bring down the property values. I mean, I honestly thank the legal firms for fighting on our behalf to bring down these property values to a fair market value, and that is appropriate, and they do deserve what they ask for the work they do. But I'm concerned about the state, the legislatures, the county officers, and the county, the city, the county, the mud and lead, and all these people who are involved in escalating our taxes. How do we hold these people accountable? How do we hold these people responsible? Because they have excessively raised our property values. And we know that, because if one legal firm can bring down the value by $4 billion, that means that $4 billion would have stayed that way if the legal firm had not intervened. That means the state is involved in inappropriately evaluating the property values, and that's where we really need to do. In fact, one of the residents from the Fort Bend County wrote to her representative, Dr. John Zervas. I can say that because it is on the Facebook. And she said, what is going on? What are your state representatives doing here? And John Zervas said, hold on now. I live in Fort Bend County. I am affected by the same property evaluations like you are. The state representatives don't set the property values. The property values are set by the Fort Bend Appraisal District chief person, which is Glenn Whitehead. But when Click to Houston went and talked to them, they got a different explanation, saying that the budget is set by the state in Austin, and they have to deal with the regulations. They have to do their job. They have to appropriately evaluate the properties. But my point is, if you're appropriately evaluating the properties, how come these legal firms are able to bring down these property values consistently? Some of them claim they can do 80% of the time they can bring down their property values. That's like okay. So I think as an individual, if you want to bring down the property values, I think our one option is to go through these legal forms and see if we can get the best possible value for our house. And beyond that, they say you can appeal the board's decision, and you can go to the court, you can go to the district court and all these things. I don't know how many of you as residents of Fort Bend County have the time or the resources to take all these things to the court for a few $1,000s. That's totally a different question altogether. Okay, there are two important elements involved in your property taxes. One is the evaluation of your property. If your property is worth $500,000, that value is set by the Fort Bend County Appraisal District or the Fort Bend County Appraisal Office. The people who work in the Fort Bend Appraisal evaluate the properties in your neighborhood, and they set these rates, the property values. The other half of the equation is the taxes, like your Fort Bend School District tax, Sugarland and other city taxes, and MUD and LID, all these different divisions in the Fort Bend County which set the tax rate. So it is so complex and so divided, you have no idea whom to approach as an entire group to see how we can make them understand that we are outraged with these property valuations and property taxes. Because the school district taxes are set by the school board. The city taxes are set by the city, and the MUD decides its own tax rate. LID decides its own tax rate. So there's no way we're going to be sitting in front of all these offices picketing and questioning the skyrocketing tax rates. So now we can see how divided all these fragmented, these property taxes packages, so that the state representatives say they have nothing to do with the Fort Bend County appraisers. The Fort Bend County office, the appraisal office says that, well, these are the property values in your neighborhood, and we said this one, we have nothing to do with the tax rate set by the school district, the city, the MUD, and the LID, and all these things. When you go through all these things, you realize, well, you're not getting anywhere. So what can we do? I think the best way for us to collectively approach this problem is to get all the Fort Bend County residents together, come together and express a unanimous voice of dissatisfaction with the way these property values have gone up 10% successively year after year. So this is what I'm trying to explain, and hopefully we'll get a lot more answers from our guests next time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any experience dealing with the Fort Bend County Appraisal District here, give us a call. The number to call here is 281-745-4161. Again, I am NIKAM. We are listening to NIKAM Network Talk Show, and this is coming to you on 1050 KCHN. You can also listen to us on kchnradio.com. We're going to take a little break, and we'll be back, and we're going to continue with our discussion about skyrocketing Fort Bend County property taxes. What can you do about it?